Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Stuck in the Middle podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Uncle AK.
And I'm Reflex. I will not ask you how you doing.
How you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm hot right now.
Why you hot?
It's too much.
I know there are a lot of beautiful ladies in the house there, so.
Nah, listen, we want to thank y'all for downloading this episode, SITM Podcast, on all social media platforms. We appreciate everybody who sends us email, guest refers, man. That warms our hearts. Definitely want to plug in our sponsor. They're a perfect office solution. They provide office space for entrepreneurs in the DMV area. So if you're looking for office space, hit them up. Let them know we sent you. Get that flexible professional space. You know what I mean? You don't want people coming to your living room. You know what I mean? So 10% off. You get that 10% off. We like to give free stuff on Stuck in the Middle.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, man. We got special guests in the building.
Special guests.
Yeah, man. You would do us the honors and introduce them?
Definitely. Let me take some of this heat from you, eh?
Yeah.
But they are the founders of Dine Diaspora, a contemporary lifestyle and event company that creates dynamic experience around food, culture, and heritage. In order, it is Nina, Maame, and Nana.
Hey!
Welcome to Stuck in the Middle podcast, girls.
Thank you.
Yo, appreciate y'all coming through and kicking it with us before we went live. But I want to break the ice like this. When somebody says, let's do brunch, how do y'all answer? How do y'all respond?
Brunch is our jam.
Brunch, you don't say, let's go do jollof. How do you respond, Nana?
Is it Bellini's or is it mimosa?
How about you, Nina?
Where we're going, like what's the best brunch in town? Let's go.
What's your best brunch in town? Y'all from the DMV, right?
We've been here so long. It changes like every week. There's always some new brunch place to go to.
I think for me, I recently discovered Half Smoke has like really, really good brunch. Like it's black owned restaurant, and I think it's on Florida Avenue. And I mean, it's very cool concept. Like they have funnel cake, chicken and waffles for the most part. I mean, it's mind blowing. Like it. Yeah.
For a villager like me, man, I don't do this brunch thing. I don't even know what brunch is. So please define it for me. What is brunch?
Is
breakfast and lunch.
I was asking you.
Breakfast and lunch.
In the middle.
Yeah.
Breakfast and lunch in the middle.
Between 11 and 3 p.m.
So some of us eat fufu for breakfast.
And rice.
If that's your brunch, as long as you put your mimosa to the side, hey.
Okay.
Brunch is not brunch without mimosa.
There you go.
Who's the chief taster?
This one right here.
They just give it to you.
This one right
I give
here.
it
I
to
like you.
myself because
I like you
I
because
enjoy tasting food and meeting future talent, and that's a role that I do very well.
But you know what I'm saying, get into like the Dine Diaspora. You guys are three ladies in the joint venture capital, you know what I'm saying, business as far as Dine Diaspora is concerned. How did this link up come about?
So how do we meet? So that's always a hard question because I feel like, to be honest, when you meet good people, you often forget where you met them at. But
I think
Nana,
she's a connector.
Yeah, Nana and Maame already knew each other, and Maame and I already knew each other. So Maame brought us all together back in 2014.
Yeah.
And that's how we got started putting our ideas together and coming up with our business.
What was it that, you know what I'm saying, like for you, it's like, yo, Dine Diaspora for y'all?
Matter of fact, hold on to that question real quick. Why the name Dine Diaspora? Why that name though? Why did you pick that name?
So, I mean, just a starter, we started this thing off as a networking event. For the most part, we're in DC. Everywhere you go, people are like, "Hey, meet us here for this networking event." You exchange business cards, and most of the time, you don't really do much with that. So we're thinking of a way to create an event that allows people to network, but it's lasting connections. So the first thought process for this was, okay, let's do something that involves food, bringing people together around food. That's something that is a common, what do you call it? A common linkage. Yes, everyone eats, everyone connects through food. So creating a space where people come, get to meet each other in a networking setting, but sit with each other for about 3 hours, you're bound to like create a lasting connection in comparison to going into a space and just exchanging business card and keeping it moving. Now, once we did that, we said, okay, what's a great component that we can add to this? Like, what kind of food do we want to bring to the table? If we're already thinking of bringing great Black people that are doing amazing things in the African diaspora together to connect, why not celebrate Black food? So this is where the concept of incorporating the food into the networking part
So
came
it
about.
was like a need that y'all saw kind of thing?
Absolutely.
Definitely.
Was it nobody doing it?
Not that we knew of.
2014.
Not that we knew of.
No.
And we had that need, right?
Yeah,
so we were the people we were talking about.
Yeah.
Our customers were people that we desired better connections.
Yeah.
We wanted more meaningful connections, and we liked food, and wanted to celebrate African diaspora cuisine.
Yep.
So you have been doing this since 2014.
Yes.
Damn.
Is people jumped on it? It's what's like, y'all seen different Dine Diasporas popping up, or y'all still exclusives with it?
I think that it's, what is it called? What are those dinners?
Dinner series?
Yeah, there are a number of dinner
yeah,
so many
series.
dinners,
There are a number of supper clubs as well,
Yeah.
which has the same sort of model. But at the core of what we do has to do about representation, right? And the individuals that we're featuring, the products that we're featuring, has to do with making sure that we are highlighting and promoting and pushing products into the market that are representative of the African diaspora. And the crux of it, that's what really makes us unique. And that's what we've been doing for the past, 4 years now. And really being able to highlight and promote makers and chefs of the African diaspora, not only through the dinners that we do, but through our events and our services.
Now, this dinners are like invite only. I want to save that question actually, as a matter of fact, and like go into like more the business part of it. Do y'all find as 3 females it's hard, like navigating? Is it more beneficial doing business as 3 females, or is it hard navigating that world as far as Dine Diaspora is concerned?
Not with us.
No, I don't think so. I think we're 3 really dynamic women that have different strengths, and I think we each bring those different strengths to the company, and it helps it thrive and be great and be what it is today. So,
I think.
yeah.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, one of the key things that we identify amongst each other when we first got together is that we each had different networks. And that was critical to how we even made sure that the first initial events that we were having, which were the dinners, connected different people. If we all came to the table, we all had the same network, it wouldn't have blossomed, they wouldn't have reached different types of people. So our strengths even there at that beginning was very clear. Nana brings her network, Maame brings her network, and I bring my network to the table.
Yeah.
I was just going to ask, working as 3, is it better than 2 or 1? And I think you just touched on that. As females at that, how important is it, that you guys can put a question or a subject on the table and be able to break it down from complex thing to like different units and stuff.
So I guess they're looking at me. So just like I said, we all have our strengths, right? And so I'm naturally a facilitator, and I've facilitated conversations over time. So when we would plan our events, dinners or whatnot, even now when we do different events like Dish and Sips, which we'll tell you about more, we get together and we identify topics and issues that connect everybody. It's not necessarily about breaking down topics. It's about seeing how people gravitate to what you're introducing and not being stuck by the script. So we got questions on paper, but if somebody says something else that's taking the group a different place, we have to be able to pivot. I'll say it's kind of nerve-wracking because the girls will be looking at me like, oh my gosh, this conversation's going on too long. Oh my gosh, it's going to get heated. And I'm just like, chill. Like, we have to at least let it be organic. We have to know when to stop it. And over time, we learn, right? So from the first dinner to the most recent ones that we did, we were very comfortable. Yeah. The first one, you're like, oh my gosh, what are they going to talk about? Oh my gosh, how am I going to stop them?
And I think the key thing too with our events is that we also ask for feedback. And I think the feedback allows us to be better each time. I mean, the 3 of us can come up with great concepts, but you, the consumer, you have to tell us if it's working or not working. So we, of course, incorporate those ideas into what we come up with as we grow as well.
Right.
So helpful.
And also, I mean, people are always asking about what's the model, right? Should you be a company that just has 1 founder, 2 founders? Some people say 3 can be tricky. But in our case, I think we've really been able to balance each other out. And we've been able to also maintain a friendship, which I don't think is quite typical.
Yeah.
Where you guys from? Where you from? Yeah, where you from, by the way?
Ghana.
Yeah, we're all 3 Ghanaian women.
I just had to put that on the record if people could figure out from the name.
Ghana in the house.
So,
in the house.
Ghana Jala.
So, Ghana Jala.
Yeah.
Come on, please.
We're not going to go.
Okay, we're not going there today.
Let's put that topic for later. You know,
okay.
definitely a fact we don't have though, but for later.
But as a follow up to that question, how do you what is the extent of diaspora? What's the limit? What's the boundary? I'd really saying what's your definition of diaspora?
There is no limit to diaspora. Diaspora is anyone born in Africa or outside of Africa with some sort of linkage and heritage to the continent. So our definition is quite broad. That means you could be in the Caribbean, outside the Caribbean, so Europe, Australia, wherever you're from, there's some sort of heritage to the continent. And for us, it's food. Food is the actual thing that we're looking at. So you can be someone from another place looking at food as the linkage to Africa, and we're interested. We want to know how you're incorporating it, how you've been able to embrace it. So African Americans, everyone is a diaspora to us. And their heritage and ties to Africa can be showcased through food.
And there's a lot of linkages, so we also want to make sure we showcase that with foods everywhere. You can find, you think of like the black eyed pea, we have it at home as Boakye and rice, and then there's like rice and peas with the Caribbean, and there's so many similarities and linkages in our foods, and I think this company allows us to showcase those things as well.
How much of this food do you guys eat? Because for me,
yes, but it's
the cheap food, the taster is over here.
Let me tell you, I've had to really tap into a workout regimen because the food's a lot. We get to eat quite a lot.
So can you just tell them a little bit about what you do?
The process.
So let's say we find this chef and we're like, oh my gosh, this chef looks amazing. We really want to know if we want to work with this chef over time. We all look and we're like, okay.
It's a courting process.
Yes.
We court this person.
So you don't just jump in.
She has to be the one to go and meet the person, talk to them, and then taste their food, like a 3-course, 4-course menu. And she has to sit there and eat the whole thing and give us feedback. And literally, if one of us gets to go along, we're lucky. So she's met tons of chefs, sat with them, talked to them, learned about their food and their process, like what goes into how are they connected to the diaspora. And not every chef is going to be a chef that we work with, because we're doing something very distinct and particular, and we've known that over time, and so it's really important that Maame gets to taste it.
Do y'all do the reaching out, or you have grown to a point now where it's like people reaching out to you?
It's both ways. I think I think chefs reach out, especially if they're interested in what we're doing. Other times when we find a chef that's like amazing, we of course reach out. For instance, our first chef, who was Chef Erica Japon, we saw his work, we loved it, we were like, hey, this is what we're thinking. What are your thoughts coming on board? So there are moments like that, and I think it doesn't hurt to have people reach out as well. With the chefs, even though Maame explained there's a tasting and all that, we still want you to have a story. You have to sell us on your brand, because we also have to in turn sell it to our consumers. So it's very important for you to come with, aside from the food being great, you have to also tell us what your culinary story is.
So how do you know the food you're tasting other people is gonna like it?
It's the wine.
You can't just taste and say, okay, because I like it.
Because I heard in another interview, y'all work, and we're gonna get into this, how so you guys work together. But
she has.
I don't know.
To be honest with you, though, I think we trust her judgment also, because she's done this. She's a talent person in our crew. She's done this so many times that we understand. To be honest with you, I don't think every food is for everyone. You may come to our event, we may like the food, we may serve it to 100% of people, maybe 2% will say, I didn't like the chicken. It's bound to happen. But we can't really navigate that. We just know that what you're going to get is what we feel like is the best. And we'll deliver that to you.
Going back to the previous question about how you contact your guests, the people, the chefs that feature on the show. When you started in 2014 and looking forward, what were the struggles you had in terms of booking a chef, in terms of actually working with a chef, and all whatnot, and even going all the way to the consumers?
She talks to most of the chefs, so she would know. But I think, of course, in the beginning would be because no one knew who we were, and no one really understood or bought into the concept of what we were trying to do as a business. So you have to find someone who believes in your vision and come along. And luckily for us, our first chef kind of set that baseline and helped us move up, because it was his work was impeccable. People loved what he did. We're able to sell that story. So of course, more chefs were okay, this looks great. But it's definitely not been easy. And yeah.
And also there are a number of amazing individuals out there that we'd love to work with, and I think as time goes on we'll be able to work with a number of individuals as well. But I think one of the things that we're really trying to hone in on is trying to incorporate more women chefs into the programming that we do as well, and trying to do more outreach and find synergy in what they're doing and what we're doing as well.
Business wise though, talk about that struggle business wise, as women try to build this thing from ground up. Business wise, what kind of struggles did you guys encounter or have encountered and overcome?
Money. That's always, of course, the financials, that's, you would love for someone to give you $1 billion and say, hey, boom, make this into what you envision. But yeah, that's definitely a constant process for us in terms of growing that and figuring that processes out. But yeah,
and I think also we've come to be able to do large events like Chop Bar, and one of the things that's always challenging for us as we were beginning that is the visibility, right? So we have to court media. There's so many facets of doing something so big that's actually challenging, and it's a very much a learning process every single time we do it. We get better and better, but imagine no one's heard of you. You're doing this big event in DC. Who you working with? The questions are always there, and we fight that. We push through because I feel like our networks have really worked for, and that network goes back to our dinners. Our dinners really cultivated a network with the customers that we're doing amazing things themselves, but they're happy to connect us with other people. They're happy to put in the work for us so that we could succeed, so that we can actually do more for them as customers. So
before we move forward, right, let's talk a little bit about, is this your 9 to 5?
No, it's not.
Okay, so in terms of education, the Dine Diaspora is there, the beauty is there. Now let's talk about the brains, eh?
The brain.
The brain.
That is our brain too.
That's a 5 to 2 a.m. brain. Definitely.
Yeah. So wait, hold up. Education-wise,
and what y'all do outside of this,
outside of Dine Diaspora.
We're very smart girls.
Of course.
We break it down.
Pressure. Okay. So I am currently. So I'm a trained epidemiologist who has pivoted. Epidemiologist who has pivoted into the pharmaceutical industry. So I manage clinical trials.
Okay.
And that's what I do from my 9 to 5.
Amazing, by the way. This woman writes articles, everything, research.
Let
me tell you, okay?
Stuck in the middle. We're open to writers, so you know what I'm saying. If you got one of those articles, you can slide it out.
They have me writing too. I can't write for anyone else.
Sorry. We pay.
Oh, they pay too. They pay too.
Our check is bigger, and it doesn't bounce.
Our checks never bounce as well.
Amen.
Just so everyone knows. So I have an international development background, as well as a English background, international relations background, and I currently work in talent management in the international affairs field, and I also have experience in new business development, which is also key to the things that we do with Dine Diaspora as well. So all of those skills come in handy.
Solid.
Yeah.
I work in international development as well. I've been in other industries as well, but currently I train leaders around the world. I build curriculum on leadership development, and I get to figure out how we can make the best leaders for the future so that we can live in a peaceful, safe, and great world.
And also, she's our Oprah on the team.
I've seen it. We will talk about it down the road. Don't worry. But let's break down some things about Dine Diaspora. We talked about, the chef studio a little bit. Yeah, I can talk about it some more. Let's talk about Chop Bar. Chop Bar.
Yes.
I just started with the chef studio
the
first.
chef studio,
Just say define what it is, and then we just go from there.
Yeah.
Okay.
So start off with the chef studio.
Correct.
The chef studio is just creating an opportunity. It's a dining setting. It's a 35 plus dinner. That allows a world-renowned chef to showcase their culinary story to a group of people.
Open to the public.
Open to the public. Our past one we had was with Chef Pierre Chiam, and he did a 5-course Senegalese-inspired cuisine. Delicious. We currently have the video on IGTV, and you guys can check it out. It was an amazing experience. I actually wish I was sitting at that point, but I'm working. So.
That's the struggle. We have to work at our events.
Now, do y'all have help? Like people sign up?
Absolutely, our volunteers. Oh my God,
Yeah.
we have so many people. And again, as Nina was saying, like, yes, we have people who came to our dinner and who bought into our dream and help us cultivate and grow and be bigger, but we also have individuals that just see what we're doing and love it and just always are there to support us. Yes. So shout out to our volunteers. They're amazing.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Chop Bar.
Chop Bar.
Chop Bar.
Hey,
Sounds
Chop
like
Bar.
that's like the
Hashtag Chop Bar DC.
Like Africans. Chop Bar.
Yes.
Chop
Have
Bar.
any of you been to Ghana before?
I have been to Ghana.
to the country.
To the country.
To the country.
The country itself.
Chop Bar.
Not a Ghanaian arm. Like the country. Okay.
We're not talking about it. Chop Bar.
So the name Chop Bar comes from Ghana specifically. So we call our makeshift restaurants, street food. There's street food and there's restaurants that are in the corner. And yes, makeshift restaurants are called Chop Bar in Ghana. And this is where you find authentic local cuisine, the fufus, the soups, the okra, the benku, the wache, even the jollof. They have the proper jollof, and then you get your star, you get your malta, everything. It's just an amazing, chill vibe in those spaces. So we were thinking, hey, how about creating something like that here in DC, where we tell people, most of our dinners are serious. It feels very serious. This is an opportunity to do something that is chill and open and fun and open to the public as well. So we pretty much took that concept and brought it to DC, and we called it Chop Bar DC, and it's creating that same vibe. We each year we have a featured chef who cooks a specific tasting menu for the guests and attendees that attend. It's dancing, DJing.
Why have I not been invited to one of these
You need
things?
to come every year.
We'll put you on the list.
You're invited.
Yes, and everyone watching.
The
You're
event,
invited.
right?
It's good vibes.
When
really
it comes
is.
out,
We'll send you a
Get your
special
ticket.
invitation.
Thank you very much.
What do you guys call chop bars in Cameroon? I know.
what do we call that
Is it
in Cameroon?
mesquite or?
Nah, that's like Senegalese. That sounds.
Oh, okay,
Senegalese.
okay.
Yeah.
Oh no, I think that's Ivorian.
Yeah, that sounds
Ivorian.
French. That sounds French.
Some other Francophone African countries use that too.
What do we call it?
Mama Put is the
It
Nigerian
depends on
one.
what they sell. You know what I mean? Like they sell puff beans.
You guys
Achomba house.
specialize.
Achomba
You
house.
call it what?
Achomba
Achomba
house.
house.
A Chombo house.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And then,
Kusil. What's the name?
don't bite your tongue. Man.
Yeah, it just escapes soon as you
Yeah.
But yeah.
But that's the vibe.
Yeah, that's the vibe.
And it's been going well.
Sequel. That's the name.
Sequel.
Sequel. Yeah.
Sequi.
Sequi.
Yeah. So now, but yeah, services. Services.
The client services.
Client services. Yeah.
Oh, so we do all this. We produce a lot of events, but we also work with other companies to bring out what we call sort of tell their stories through food. So we've worked with companies like Divine Chocolate, which is a chocolate brand that actually gets their chocolate from Ghana, but has the farmers that are harvesting the chocolate on their board. So it's very important to us that a company like that, we get to work with a company like that and have, be part of creating their events. Let's say they're celebrating their anniversary or something like that. They hire us to build the menu, to bring in different elements of the actual production of the event that helps them not only say, hey, we've done great, but that, hey, our chocolate is, you can taste it in different types of food. You can pair it with this or that. So we build up a whole production that speaks to that company's sort of journey, as well as it complements the food that is being served throughout the night.
I dig it.
Right.
I dig it.
Definitely an opportunity for these companies to elevate their brands. Using events as a tool to do that.
I like y'all because y'all really provide opportunities, man. Like all around everything y'all do, y'all just bring. That's kind of what Stuck in the Middle does. You know what I'm saying? Just provide a platform for people to thrive.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
The next is Dine Diaspora signature dinner. What is that about?
So that's actually what we've been talking about. This is the first thing that we ever did. When we met each other, we came up with that event. So that one was the invite only, looking at and bringing African diaspora leaders from different backgrounds and different industries together to connect over food. Like we said, that was the issue that we were having ourselves. And it blossomed to there after that. And even after that event is when the same people that came to the dinner were asking for more. And that's how the other events came up. And we built it basically with their feedback. This whole business started with a few, and then now, we've been able to grow it with hundreds of people from that signature dinner.
Right.
Dish
And sip.
Conversations with cravings.
Yes.
Yeah,
What
she
is
looks
that?
like she's
I
ready
guess
to
it's
talk.
You got her craving.
It's another component of what we do is our speaker series. So it's an opportunity for us to invite individuals who are emerging in the industry or titans in the industry in the food and beverage space or other spaces, representatives of that, again, global African diaspora, and have them be able to educate and tell their stories using that platform. And we also either have a featured dish or craving. It could be a drink, it could be a food product, but again, another opportunity to promote African diaspora inspired products. And the last one we just had was with Tabby Bonet. It was last Thursday, and the product that we featured was Snap Foods.
Yeah.
And it's also, I guess we can also go into that later, but it's a product that we also featured in our upcoming short doc, which we did in Ghana in May.
There is something about food and conversation.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, everywhere you turn, where there's food, there's lots of conversation. You go, even the clubs, they sell chicken wings and all whatnot. The clubs too. What is it about food that spark conversations?
I mean, I think that's our secret sauce, right? Yeah. So our whole the way we started is about connecting people over food, and we discovered through ourselves, like we were meeting for brunches. We were getting together, and it was always let's get together over food. I think the idea to me has always been, whether or not you like a person next to you, if there's food, we can at least focus on that. And we can at least bond over the fact that this food is there, and we can, it has its own story, it has its own history. Let's focus on that. I feel like even if you're on a bad date, you could just be like, you know what, this chicken is so good. And it's just what it is, right? It connects. We all have to eat. And the food itself is part of the conversation if you let it be. Right. And that's the core of how we got started, and the idea that catalyzed to the point that we're at now.
Don't limit yourself, a lot of people say. In this, venture, do you guys do everything? How much of your work do you outsource, and how much do you do yourselves?
I think the cooking part we outsource. I
was just gonna ask.
So I guess the question is, can you guys cook?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Individually, we all can cook.
Yeah.
I mean, my social media is private, but I love cooking.
Sometimes we show it on Dine Diaspora.
Sometimes
we be like, we be in the kitchen look what we're making.
Yeah. But we definitely cook. But to answer your question, yes, we outsource the chef and the cooking part of what we do, because fundamentally it's what we're trying to promote. Like, we want to do the heavy lifting, which is the production. You come as a chef, cook, and just wow the crowd. So That's the part we outsource. Unfortunately, everything else we do ourselves. We do social media, we do
graphics,
carrying chairs,
absolutely.
tables, putting things together, design, decor, all that. We do everything.
Load in, load out, production.
We are a small business, so
everything.
I mean, if you know any strong gentlemen,
I was
or
good
women, like women who like to pick up chairs here and there and help us out, let us know.
I only ask that question because there's a lot of young women and men who claim to be quote unquote so busy, to do the heavy lifting. They want to outsource everything, but they don't got the finances to do that. Hence why they don't even start their dreams. So I just we're just showcasing that, if you can do it, they can do it as well. If we can do it, they can do it
I
as
will
well.
actually say this, like a lot of the things that we've taken on individually, we don't even necessarily have backgrounds in. Maame, of course, talent management, so she does that, so she understands that. Social media, I do the digital marketing. That's not my background. I mean, I like to write.
I see why you want to sit next to that guy, eh? Okay.
I like to write, so it's easy for me to maybe come up with captions, but I think I've gotten better. I would tell you from the beginning when we started, we're like, who's going to do it? We're all trying to throw it out. Everyone's like, no. But you have to grind, because this is our baby. This is my baby. Yeah. So it's like, what do you do for your baby? You take care of it and you nurture it.
Right.
So it's like, if I need to take this course, if I had to learn how to upload something on IGTV on a Saturday while everyone is turning up, I would do what I need to do to make my company thrive.
And then you go
you go turn up after. But
and the turn up is even better.
But because she knows my stuff.
But it's true. It's like you have to hone in on different skill sets, so you become better at it. Nina does the graphics. Like for Chop Bar, we were so grateful to have Audrey Lane creatives do that. It was amazing. But before that, Nina had been doing it, and honestly, it looks great. That's something that she picked up, because we all have to just jump on something. And so
for anyone who's starting any sort of business, like, start small.
Yeah.
Start with what you can do and start from there, and then time where there's so many services where you can go online and learn how to do something that you may not naturally know how to do. And then there are also websites like Fiverr or whatever else where you can pay some people a small amount of money to do some of the things that you can't do. But it's really about starting small and growing from there, and recognizing that you can get to your big dream, but it does take steps, and every step that you take is going to lead you on to another journey.
I would add that there are things that you should have as non-negotiable that you need to pay people for. One thing that we always, from the beginning, I don't know why we decided this, but it was a great investment to invest in photography. Great photography in the beginning, so we could market what we were doing through great images. We needed great images for people to be sold. So there's things that you're gonna have to be like, you know what?
We can't do this.
We can't do this. We have to invest in this. But most things you can. Other than the things that really sell it to the customer, who knows who's behind the computer doing the social media? Nobody knows. So that's, I say there's things you have to decide. I'm not going to negotiate on this, because if we don't get it right early, we're not going to have a good business.
Yeah, man. See, they're dropping nuggets. I want to ask how much investment did you touched on this a little bit earlier. How much investment did you guys put in Dine Diaspora, and are you able to see the profit back? I know you guys are still investing in it.
In the beginning, we all did. Like, I think our first dinner was straight out of our pockets. Like, we were just like, okay, here's a total. Split it 3 ways. That was the first dinner. I think that's the first initial investment that we all did.
And I'll say this, our model actually has been put the money in and work hard to break even. So most of the time, I think we broke even every single time on everything that we did. The extra part is the profit. And as we go, we're figuring out how to constantly make a profit. And that's not really a typical thing for a company to say, look, we always break even. That's not, people always go under, and that's okay. But the three of us knew that we wanted our model to be break even and then go higher. That's also, to me, testing our brand. If we can't break even, then maybe we shouldn't be here, because we're based on events. We're not a company that has a constant, revenue going all year. So we have to be sure that each event stands alone and recycles what we're doing or benefits us in a way where we don't have to lose to the point where we have to shut down.
And also, sorry.
Go ahead.
And also, even if you're not going to break even, make sure it's worth it. Meaning, there's a reason why you're not breaking even. Doesn't mean you're bringing media into the room to just get to know you guys. So that means you're taking that loss. Something, whatever it is. Just make sure that you're even though you're not breaking even, you're not. There's a goal for it.
Right.
There's a reason.
It enhances.
It enhances something.
Yeah.
It's not just, oh, we're gonna just lose money just to lose money.
Yeah.
Is this a passion or is it for profit?
Can't you hear it tonight?
I mean, I'm just asking, to clarify that break even thing. You know, what I mean,
we definitely want to make some money.
I mean, of course.
This is definitely
A passion.
it's definitely a passion for all of
Yeah.
us. And at the same time, this is a business.
Right.
This is not a nonprofit. And
we just had a non-profit. I know, right?
and that's
Conversation.
what I'm saying. Like we love nonprofits,
but it's for profit.
At the same time, we are looking to expand and be able to offer more services. And in order to be able to do that, we also need to be able to generate more revenue.
Yeah.
And this is also because we decided early that for us to get to our mission, our goals, we have to pay these chefs. We have to pay this talent. We have to pay these photographers, and we have to pay them well so they come back, so they recommend us. We can't have our core talent being like, oh, this is a nonprofit, so do it for free. That's never been the way that we wanted to do our work. And so when people are paying for our events, we want them to recognize that. Like, this isn't something where we're just like, oh, we're just doing it and it's for fun. No, these chefs and this talent we bring along are getting visibility, they're getting opportunities, and that's every ticket that you buy, everything that you invest in with us is going back to our mission, which is to promote African diaspora cuisine through products and makers.
Yeah, I want to just plug in real quick. Our sponsor, Perfect Office Solution. I'm speaking for Stuck in Media. I'd like to partner with y'all to make one of your events happen with Perfect Office Solution. We provide the space, we provide the muscle, and whatever else.
Let's talk.
This guy's like, why did you just?
He said, you're giving me work.
I seriously would love to do that.
You heard it here first.
Yes, it's gonna happen. But that's. Oh, he will be definitely down. But this question is close to my heart. We're talking about food and travel, Ghana, Cameroon, whatever. World hunger. We just talked about nonprofit. You know what I'm saying? We here in the West, we eat. We good. Is that something that's in your minds as far as like reaching out and giving back, just like world hunger, for example?
Definitely. So we always want to give back. One thing that has been important to us is also to work with chefs that understand that giving back is really important. And not just giving back to me is not just because you took an hour out of your time to volunteer. Or you did something for kids or whatever. Chef Pierre Chem has a brand called, not just a brand, but a grain that he sources from his home country called fonio. And this is one of the, it has sort of the ingredients, or it's very nutritious. And a lot of African countries have this grain but don't even eat it. And so he's promoting how we can eat it in different ways, how we can cook it. We've tasted it as well, but we're also in that business of promoting this and promoting his brand so that more people can reach it. But that is the answer to hunger. It's not just because you took out time and like, oh, I did this. And that's important to us too. We always want to sort of give back on Thanksgiving and, things like that. But looking at systemic change, to me and for Dine Diaspora, is about making sure the systemic change is embedded in the business. And through promoting and working with talent that also is committed to, using sustainable products, promoting nutritious food, that is giving back, especially when you talk about the world of food.
This t-shirt you're rocking right now, I got a couple people who hit me up talking about.
I think you should stand up.
You know what?
It's
Do
called
they see?
It's called a
So
spices
yeah,
t-shirt.
jerk. Break it.
So shout out to this is one of the latest things that we have been able to build throughout the company is merchandise. So our spices shirt. Our spices shirt Can you explain the site spices and then?
Oh, okay. So of course it's a very diverse list of spices. So we have suya, jerk, adobo, bear, and cayenne. Now everybody has something that they can relate to on here. If you don't, at least cayenne is the one. You know what I mean? Right. We all put some pepper in our food. But no, this is just a little bit of what we do. It's pretty much tapping into some of the different diasporas that we love to tap into when it comes to food. So we're representing that via shirt. And we debuted this at our Chop Bar DC in July. Yes. Yeah. So they're on sale.
Wait, on your website?
So we are putting that together. That should be going live at least by the end of the year. But our plan is to have that open and ready to go out.
So if somebody wanted it like today,
hit us up.
DM
us. We are entrepreneurs. We'll find you.
Hit them up.
We will sell you a shirt.
Me no questions.
Email us, DM us.
Yes.
We'll get it to you.
But the website is, not the website, but the site
shop.
for the shop is going to be live.
Y'all got cookbooks on there too?
No, is that something you want? Are you trying to cook? You need a book?
I'm just asking the questions.
That man cannot even heat up water.
The sky is the limit. So
I burnt water
not?
one time trying to heat it up.
What would
I was
be
boiling water and I
something
burned
you
it
would
up.
like to see in a cookbook if we were to do one? What would you be interested? Aside from Cameroon, of course.
Boakye.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You love Boakye?
Yeah.
We'll just tell you the recipe. The recipe will be up. You can pay for the recipe.
We'll name it after you. We'll say Flex right here.
Flex Boakye.
Boakye.
Let's talk travel.
Okay.
Yeah.
You mentioned the documentary.
Yes.
Y'all been to NOLA, y'all been to Ghana, y'all been in Uganda, Kenya.
Everywhere.
Yeah. Is it just a pleasure trip? Like I'm going to Ghana for December for Christmas, and then I just take that Dine Diaspora, or was it like a business trip?
It could be anything. It could be a bachelor party on the side. You're doing Dine Diaspora.
You're doing everything. To be honest with you, that's what it
Yeah.
is. Like, we don't have the luxury of just getting up and going everywhere. And most of the time, if you're going, it's not because of Dine Diaspora. You're going for other things in your life. But it's also an opportunity to take pictures, do video, because Nina, for instance, goes to Uganda a lot for work. And it's like, while we're there, why not tap into some of these culinary creatives that are there?
Right, and it's also wherever we go, another opportunity to showcase to everyone
the food that's there.
The foods
yes,
there.
the people that are there, the
too.
culinary creatives that are there. And I mean, Nina shows that quite well in her trips to Uganda and Kenya. I mean, our trip to Ghana in May, quite similar. That's where of course the video came from. Trying to see some of these amazing minds in Accra that are doing great things with food and being able to share that with the world.
So tell us about this documentary. It's
So
dropping tomorrow.
It drops tomorrow.
Drum roll.
How long is it?
12 minutes.
Yes.
Oh,
and we have clips. Shorter clips.
Just 12.
It's a short
Because we know
documentary.
people don't like to watch long things.
That's your loss.
Let me check what we're on 42 minutes on this now. It's a great conversation.
I feel like if the conversation is good,
Right.
People
dope,
will
you know what I mean? Like,
Joe
it-
Budden
Well, let me
podcast
just tell you,
is 3
you guys
hours.
have been doing this for a long time, right? This is our first video.
Yeah.
And you know what I mean? So we're trying to figure out what people like, what they don't like,
No,
if
it's
they're
perfect.
going to
Trust me,
watch
it's perfect.
12 whole
Yep.
minutes. But we felt like that's a comfortable number. A lot of stuff got cut. I mean, we did a whole bunch of stuff, but ultimately this video is something we're really excited about. Like we said, it's our first video, and it's called Foodie Venture Accra, and we meet 3 dynamic, talented people in Accra that are doing different things in food. So there's a chef, Chef Binta. There is a product maker, which is the Sankofa chips that we mentioned, who his name is Jamie. And then there's a bartender, amazing bartender who's actually won a lot of awards worldwide for being dynamic and great in his work. And his name is Johnson, Ace Bartender.
Shout out.
So you get to learn about their personalities, their journey, learn about how they came to be, and where they're going. And, we got to taste their food, but hopefully you can, live through us on the video.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it, man. I thought it was going to be like a movie premiere. I was about to wear my 3-piece.
From your mouth to God's ears. The
Amen.
next one will
Amen,
probably
yes,
be,
amen.
30 minutes long and red carpet,
On a
a gown, you get your tux on, red carpet style. We can
Netflix
wait.
needs to create a section for
gosh.
African documentaries and
Yeah.
just be
Speak
picking
it.
them up
Oh,
and
they
throwing
have
them
that.
there.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
absolutely have some. I
More
think
space.
one thing that we also did, if you are familiar with My Africa Is, she Nosa Garrick. So we have her as a consulting producer, and she does a lot of documentaries on the continent. So she also helped us guide this process. So shout out to Nosa.
Yeah, shout out to Quali TV. You guys should reach out to her too.
Yeah,
to put it
we
on
know
there.
her.
Yeah, Quali TV because she
Content.
definitely
She's been on
African.
African. Yeah. Deshauna Spencer. Now, Nina, congratulations. 10 under 35 challenge change makers.
Bruh. I told you, our very own Oprah.
What's the idea? What's the
Under 30.
Yes.
10 under 35, right?
Yes.
Yeah, under
30.
Under 30. Yes, under 30.
under 30.
Yes.
Oh yeah, she's
I was
still
gonna
not
wonder where he
30.
got it.
I don't know, maybe.
No, on the website it said 35.
Really?
Yeah, I was doing
Oh,
my
they probably expanded to include more people, which is always good. You know?
So if you're looking, she's under 35.
Even 25.
She's 18.
Ugandan.
Yes.
That's why I always there. It's not just business. I'm just kidding.
Stop playing.
But yeah, what's the idea behind Africa development jobs?
So I actually stopped doing African development jobs.
Ooh,
but
okay. So that
it
article
was-
is real old.
Yes. Not real old, but once we got more into Dine Diaspora, I had to kind of put that to bed. But it wasn't because Dine Diaspora went. It was just, my company. I started that helps people and connects people to opportunities, particularly jobs on the continent of Africa, jobs relevant to development in Africa. And I did that for several years. It's a solo entrepreneurship, so it was very, very difficult. And I found that it was having more of a drain on me. And I didn't want to no longer continue that. But it had a lot of benefits, and so many people still reach out to me for the same things that the company did, and it had its time. And I think I would love for it to inspire others to do something, that I did, if it inspires others to have the same kind of idea and continue that work. But nevertheless, I'm still in the development space
And
outside of
youth
Dine
development
Diaspora.
as well as one of your passions.
Yeah, outside of one thing that I would say to anyone, we've all done some sort of project or business before Dine Diaspora. And those lessons, I feel like, makes us stronger. Those lessons that we bring to the company has made us so much stronger as a company. And that's why I feel like we're so much more resilient, because we know that process. We know that journey.
And it allows us to also learn to work with each other too, because we know what the pitfalls are in working with others. So it's like, okay, how do you avoid it in this threesome here?
Threesome.
Okay, now.
Okay. So outside of Dine Diaspora and your 9 to 5, what else do you guys do? Like,
What do we like to do for fun? Or
for fun or not for fun or in between? It don't matter.
I mean, traveling, eating, dancing. Honestly,
Reading.
Yeah,
On a more serious note.
It sounds so boring, right?
On a more serious note, no. On a more serious note, what because a lot of people gonna watch this and be inspired. What can y'all tell the young ladies out there going into joint venture capitalism or starting something?
Men too.
Yeah, men too. Yeah.
Come on, man.
What advice you got?
Don't reinvent the wheel. If something is already there, either you collaborate or you try and make it better. But just don't go copy and paste.
Yeah, find your unique, find your unique value.
Yeah.
And that comes with research. So one of the first things actually we did is do our research
to see
on who our competitors are, who's in the space already, if we had competitors and what were they doing, how could we be different. So do that. I think that's where that speaks to. That is so important. Like, everybody can't be doing the same thing and tapping into the markets. You all need each other. So collaboration is key, supporting others is key, and differentiate yourself from
I also think you should always get a co-founder. I personally think it's easier.
That's short in my
it allows you to kind of like offset some of the load. some people just are very anal and like, I only can work for myself, and I can, it's that's just a road to stress. So if you can find people that share your dream, and it's always good to also understand what your strengths and your weaknesses are, because there's always someone there to offset that. So if you have someone on your team that is a co-founder, they of course most likely will bring something that you don't bring, and finding ways to like highlight those good qualities.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, dream big, you know? If you really have a vision, sometimes that vision is only given to you. And you might try to explain it to others and they don't get it. But if you are really, really passionate about what it is, that the idea that you have, go for it. And there are going to be like so many challenges along the way, but it'll only make you more resilient and also sharpen the product or the brand that you have. So
going back to your point, you mentioned finding a partner, and which is good too as well. Sean's a load on you, but how do you find somebody who shares your dream? Like, how do you, man, like, it's not like you could just go, okay, yeah, you talk to somebody, like, oh yeah, I see what you're saying. Like,
to be honest with you, I feel like those. I mean, in my experience, that has happened with friends, with family. So it's like, hey, I think this is great. Hey, I think that's great. Boom, then we decide to work together. I've never had to like go look for people. Like, for instance, in this partnership, I knew Maame. Maame knew Nina. We had this whole dinner conversation. Boom, it happened. I think it's a fortunate situation. I'm not certain if this is like a norm for most
it's
people.
definitely not a norm.
Yeah.
I think it's very hard to find a co-founder. Like I said, when I had African Dev Jobs, I was looking for a co-founder, and there's resources for this all over the place. There's co-founder dating, like there's a whole business made around finding co-founders. But I ultimately think what does the trick to me is when you meet to talk about the idea, you're building off of each other, not selling your idea to someone who's like, yeah, let's go. Because what you'll find is that a lot of people want to be bosses. A lot of people want boss, entrepreneur, co-founder, founder in front of their name.
Titles.
And so
but don't really want to do the work.
That passion that you see like in us is not necessarily there, but they're willing to like go along with it. And you might not see that, but I think when you organically, when someone is like bringing new ideas and trying to build off of what you're talking about, that's when, to me, that's when the spark is there.
Yeah. And this is, at the end of the day, like definitely a partnership.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was like, this is definitely a partnership. So we have our highs and our lows, but we've really learned how to work very well with each other as business women, but also as individuals. And I think those are also two separate things as well.
It's like dating.
Yep.
So any upcoming events, plug it in.
So of course we have our video coming out, Foodie Venture Accra, tomorrow, Monday the 22nd. Watch. It's going to be on YouTube. Find it, whatever. It's the bomb about Ghana.
Share. Hashtag Foodie Venture, hashtag Dine Accra. Share.
Yeah.
With your mama, your daddy, your friends, your cousins. Even your ex,
yes, everybody. The other thing we have is our merchandise. It's going to be on sale soon. We're going to launch the shop on our website, so you need to be ready for that. Get your coins together. Yes. You want to buy gifts for your family for Christmas or whatever you celebrate.
Holiday season.
That's what you want to do. We'll have that up. Ultimately, most of our events are coming up in 2019. We're already planning our 2019 schedule. Of course, look out for Dish and Sips earlier in the year, Chef Studio, and of course Chop Bar in the summer. Yeah. So tons and tons of stuff going on. At this point, if you know our company, you know that we're regular on point putting out stuff. And when there's new opportunities, special events also come up and opportunities. Look out for giveaways on our Instagram account as well.
How can people reach you guys, like business-wise and personal-wise?
Absolutely. Well, you can reach us by email, so info@dinediaspora.com, and on all of our social media platforms, we're at Dine Diaspora, So it's on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, everywhere as well.
Sign up for our newsletter, though, because that's how you get fast, quick information about what event is coming up for us.
Yeah. And that's on our website.
Yeah. And last question. What's your definition of success?
Wow.
Ooh.
I think for Dine Diaspora, it is ultimately us being able to sustain ourselves as a company. One day, if we can, why not be full-time? So not having to do it on the side of something else, but being able to give our all to this company and see it thrive. On the other side is making sure that those that we work with, the makers, the chefs, the product makers, are getting the visibility that they need to take their companies and talent to the next level, being featured in different places, going in the mainstream, yet retaining their culture and their signature ways of cooking food as well.
I like it. It. Anything else?
That's it.
Hey man, listen, this has been dope. y'all brought the fun. I enjoyed it.
That's true.
Thank you for having us.
I enjoyed being here.
Yeah.
Great sharing.
You had some, good to say about Stuck in the Middle.
Oh, you did?
I wanted you to get it on the record.
Oh no, I was just saying I love the space.
Yeah, let me put the mic in my mouth.
It's branding wise, you guys definitely are on point. I walked in here and felt like I'm in a place of business, so really nice.
One
Good
thing I
job on
wanted
that.
to say that, like, when I think of the name Stuck in the Middle, I feel like, I hope like what we shared today is really inspiring for others. I feel like there's so much opportunity in being stuck in the middle. And if you look at challenges as opportunities, you'll be able to create businesses, create ideas that sustain and support other people while they're supporting you. So I think we found an opportunity in being stuck in the middle as well, and I hope that resonates for other people.
Hey man, that's dope. That's a perfect place to end right there.
Yes, sir.
And listen, we have had the pleasure of speaking with the ladies of Dine Diaspora, Nina, Maame, and Nana.
You did. He did that on purpose.
I see what you're doing there.
Acting skills.
Now listen, it's been a pleasure. We appreciate you guys. And Dine Diaspora on all social media platforms. If you want to reach us, it's SITM Podcast. Email as well, SITMPodcast237@gmail.com. AK, you good?
Yo, I hope you know you made a mistake, right?
What's that?
And then with the name calling thing.
Oh, I did not know.
He
Nina?
got it right.
No.
Nina, you got it right.
Yeah.
See, he tried to throw you in the bus.
Yeah.
We good. We out. Stuck in the Middle podcast.
We out.